How you doing, guys? My name's Marty, and I have returned. I've been going back and forth on doing a 2016 year-end list, and I've got a list made out, and to be completely honest, I feel incredibly late getting it together. It doesn't feel very deep or, you know, interesting. A lot of shit's already been shown by other people. So yeah, I'm really on the fence if I'm even going to do it. A lot of preparation for it, and I just have not had time to do so. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. If you want to see a 2016 best of list from me, you know, put something in the comments section. Maybe I'll be swayed either way, but right now I don't think it's really that big of a deal or essential to share with you what I've been listening to. A lot of it I've already shown in collection updates. No real big surprises, maybe a couple things here and there, but yeah, let me know what you think and we'll go from there. In the background, should you be able to hear it, is Cancer's Death Shall Rise cassette. I bought this when it came out, and completely honest with you, excuse me, I've never much been into this tape. I think the band is incredibly overrated. I think they write really incredibly boring songs, but I check back from time to time to see if there's something that has changed in my appreciation for this band. To the Gory End is the first one, and didn't care for that one, and this one, yeah, it's got James Murphy on it, but during the time that this album came out, there was James Murphy in a lot of different bands and a lot of different albums that some were great, some weren't so great. I was going to do eventually an overrated band, and Cancer would an overrated band video, released video, and this would have definitely been one of the bands to make an appearance in that video, but we'll see if that comes to fruition. But yeah, on the tip of showing off some new stuff, I constantly buying, not bragging about it, I'm just saying it's one of those things I just can't quite curb. But I went to FYE this weekend and stocked up on some newer releases by, as Ben puts it, geriatric thrash bands. And in a lot of ways he's true, but on the same token, they're still putting out relevant stuff. And to be honest, there isn't a bad CD in this bunch. First off is who won a Grammy last night, Megadeth Dystopia. Dave is an amazing songwriter, amazing guitar player, and Megadeth is, if you're into metal, chances are you own some, if not a lot, of Megadeth's releases and love a lot of them. But Dystopia, but Dave's got a thing that he writes a lot of shit. 13 was terrible, Super Collider was terrible. The last album I really loved by this band was Endgame, I guess, but Dystopia is, for all intents and purposes, sounds like a classic Megadeth album. Really great shredding, heavy songwriting. Dave's voice doesn't sound blown out. It's a good album. If you have not heard it yet, check it out. If you have been a little put out by the last bit of input from Megadeth, definitely he's got himself a good band again, and this is a smoker. Some great shit on here. Next up, Creator, Gods of Violence. To be honest, it was Aaron the Metal Theologian that got me realizing that Creator might still be putting out good stuff. I have not heard a single note from this band since, oh geez, Endorama? Cause for Conflict? I don't remember in the pantheon where those albums fell, but there was a After Coma of Souls, which was an album I was very on the fence about. I thought it was a very overrated album. For me, Extreme Aggression is the very last good Creator album. Great Creator album, to be honest with you. But yeah, they Endorama, Renewal, Cause for Conflict. Milla was experimenting with shouted, like a hardcore shouted vocal style. Did not fit, sounded terrible. And like Endorama was a lot of experimental, dark, gothic influences entered the music. It was not Creator, it was shitty. So yeah, Gods of Violence. I heard a few things online. It sounded really good to me, so I checked this out, and wow, this is a smoker album. The one thing that's really strange is I was listening to this yesterday with a friend of mine, Jim, who was in Five Meaningful Albums video with me here not too long ago, and he was like, wow, and he agrees, it sounds like old Creator with a super slick production. And the one thing that kind of throws us both is there's a lot of melody on this album, like a lot of melodic death metal influence, a lot of shreddy guitar work, really victorious riffs. First half of the album is completely great. Second half is still really, really good. Starts to slip a little bit because there's a lot of melody and dynamics that come in when, you know, really all you want to hear is a good, you know, driving Creator thrash beat. There's an anthem song on here. I cannot remember. Hail to the Hordes. It's like a call to battle to all the metal legions out there, and it's the anthemic nature of the song is super cheesy, but you know, this is a really good album, and completely honest, I'm going to start going backwards from this album, investigating Enemy of God is supposedly good, the one that came before this is supposedly good. I'm back on the Creator trip. If they're going to be putting out quality like Gods of Violence, I'm definitely interested. Next up, Testament, Brotherhood of the Snake. If you have Sirius XM radio, you've been listening to Stronghold and a couple other songs from this album. It's really good, really good. I mean, they've got probably the world's best rhythm section with Steve DeGorgio on bass and Gene Hoglan of Dark Angel fame on drums. I wish I could hear some more fretless noodling from Steve DeGorgio. The sadist fan in me wants to hear that. But super well produced, super great thrash metal songs. Chuck Billy's vocal delivery is super diverse, clean singing, shouted, death growls. I was talking to Jim yesterday, we listened to this too, and yesterday I said, you know what, no matter what Chuck Billy does, it still kind of sounds like home. You know, it sounds like, you know, my teenage years. You know, hearing Chuck Billy sing is something that just seems right in my head. But this is a really good album if you guys are into keeping up with the times with these old thrash bands. Testament's been on fire. This is another great album, and if there was a big five, they definitely would be up there on that tour, I think, with all of the big biggies in the genre. And lastly is Overkill's, not lastly, but for this little retro geriatric thrash session, Overkill's The Grinding Wheel. I've been listening to a shit ton of Overkill lately because they were at one point in my teenage years, high school years, like probably my favorite band. Feel the Fire taking over, Years of Decay, Horoscope, all fucking amazing albums, and I've been listening to them a lot lately. It's been really awesome. So yeah, there was no way I wasn't buying this album. I don't have their entire discography. There's a lot of holes because newer Overkill, they kind of lost me. These guys are like the hard-working band of the metal scene, really. I mean, people call them like the thrash metal Motorhead, which if that, you know, they don't sound like Motorhead to me, but if it means, you know, their conviction and their get on the road, bash it out, keep putting out an album every year, every other year, you know, work ethic is to be compared to Motorhead, then yes, I would say they're the Motorhead of thrash metal. But Overkill, they sound like Overkill. You know, Blitz's strained high-end shrieks and Dee Dee's metallic clang in the bass tone fucking really stands out. I've only listened to this album once, and there's a lot of sameness on it, but it's all good. You know, the songs might be a little long. They could have cut off probably 3 songs off the end and had a really good album, but you know, the more I listen to this, the more I become accustomed to the songs. That opinion might change to me, but this is sorry, I just had something pop up on my phone. Like, what the hell? Really happy with the way this turned out, and we'll be listening to it more when the mood arises. Definitely a good album though. If you guys are Overkill fans, you won't be disappointed. I wish, you know, I could say they keep putting out the same album, but they kind of do. But it's a good formula. I wish the songwriting and the overall ferocity of the early stuff and the youthful vigor still existed, but you know, the grinding wheel still full of piss and vinegar and shows overkill. Older but still ready to kick ass. Next up, you know what, first, one other album that I got last year on this same tip is the Nu Metal Church 11. They've got Mike Howe back in the band, and you know, there's some mellow shit on this album, but it's a good album. It's not like they're trying to be a thrash band. It just sounds like a good traditional heavy metal album with some thrash tendencies, I should say. But Mike Howe, is that his name, Mike Howe? Jesus, I'm drawing a complete, yes, Mike Howe. He was on Blessing in Disguise and the one after it. I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. But anyway, his voice sounds like he hit pause on his career, came back, took the pause off, and sounded like a youthful Mike Howe. Strong pipes, really good vocal ideas. Really good heavy metal pseudo thrash album. You should definitely check this out if you're a Metal Church fan. I have not followed anything in between the bookends, all the albums that these bookend with Blessing in Disguise. I have not heard a note, so I don't know if it's any of that's good, but this is a good album. Kurt Vanderhoof is still a great metal songwriter. This next 6 albums are available on thecollectivedistro.com, which is my distro, which is going to be changing soon. Been working hard on getting a brand new shopping cart going for you guys. No bugs, a lot simpler, clean. It's going to be awesome. It'll be another week or two before it's out, but it's coming. But this stack of CDs is now available through there. Wedrusi Vieter, I want to say. I don't know if I'm saying that correct, but I've got both of their releases in stock. Super airy, atmospheric black metal with maybe some Cascadian black metal influences in it. These guys are from Poland. Did I already talk about these before? I don't know. They're both great CDs. This is the latest. There's a couple distros in the US that have them, but come and get them. I still have a stack of them. Excellent stuff. Also, in the Ancient Records, Arcane Angels is Chaos with Rehearsal 11 demo. If this is a demo, you get your fool. You can't, you know, you might be fooling me because it's really well produced. Excellent Swedish black metal, cold, calculating, fast, really good stuff. These two albums by the band Mystic. Holy shitballs, is this good stuff. Very Norwegian, it's a Swedish black metal from the Ancient Records camp, put out on Arcane Angels, label from Greece. Super airy, powerful black metal with a lot of synth work. These guys remind me of perhaps a little more utilitarian version of Emperor. A lot of keyboards, really great songwriting, good production. This shit is really good. If you have not heard Mystic, M-Y-S-T-I-K, to be cult, of course. Definitely check out. These are both in another language. I'm not going to pronounce them for you. Both on the distro. Come and get them. And the last of the CDs is another Swedish band from the Ancient Records camp on Arcane Angels. This is actually an Ancient Records release. This is Trolldom with a Good Blood Rod. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but Trolldom, another synth-dominant black metal band trying to tap into the Norwegian style a little bit. This is a fantastic album as well. Holy shit, I've listened to this a lot. Not much more to say. They sound very similar to Mystic. At some point, I think the members were in the same band together. That's it for the CDs. And one thing I wanted to show. This is I used to have this album, an original pressing of this album on Peaceful Records. I bought it when it came out. Never clicked with me. And during the 90s, when eBay was taking off, I admittedly sold the original pressing of this vinyl for quite a bit of money on eBay. I'm not real proud of that, but I needed the money at the time. But Axe Grinder's Rise of the Serpent Men on Svart Records. This is the reissue. I don't know when this came out. Doesn't really say. But having the original pressing, which was glossy, this is a more of a matte finish. They paid quite close attention to the original pressing. Other than this is red vinyl. Excellent crusty death anarcho punk mix. Kind of rose up the same era as Bolt Thrower, so there's that plotting Bolt Thrower, early Bolt Thrower style. Shouted angry vocals. I mean, like I said, it's like anarcho punk mixed with death, the early beginnings of death metal. Really good album. I don't know why in the fuck this didn't click with me, unless I wanted just more aggressive vocals. I don't know, but if you're a fan of Amoebics and Bolt Thrower, shit like that, Axe Grinder is definitely should be up your alley. Give it a chance. Eric Bauer pointed me in the direction of this on Discogs. I got it for like $17, $20 shipped. It's definitely worth checking out. Know your history, youngins. Know your history. But yeah, my God, I'm listening to this fucking Cancer tape, and it's just boring as shit. They just go nowhere, boring. People out there love this shit. You know, I can appreciate there's no accounting for taste, but man, listen to something with more piss and vinegar. That's the second time I've said that. I sound like my dad. But that's it. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later on. Have a good one.